about the air quality criteria, and there's a bunch of standards out there established by the U.S. EPA and followed by Georgia EPD, and they're health standards. And what we evaluate is to make sure that the facilities that we deal with are going to meet those standards. And this facility will meet that because of the controls. And one of the examples that we looked at was for PM 2.5, which is a big concern. It's about 1% of the ambient air quality standard, a very low mark indeed. The other areas that Georgia evaluates are for air toxic emissions, and they're considered AACs, or acceptable ambient concentration levels. And these are levels that Georgia has established based on health criteria set up by the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health organization and other organizations to ensure that the air quality from air toxics or hazardous air pollutants will be less than the levels presented. And what we found is that for this facility, we estimate that the facility's impact would be a factor of 10 to 100 times or greater. In fact, most of the impacts were 3 orders of magnitude less than the AACs established by EPA. One note to make is when we do our evaluation, we look at the column percentages, the places where we locate potential points around the facility to establish the maximum impact. And when I talk about these particular impacts, it's generally at a point that's fairly close to the facility. All other areas are going to be much lower than that maximum point. And we looked at over 5 years, 5 years worth of meteorological data, pretty standard, and that's about 9,000 combinations of weather conditions to determine what would be the maximum impact. And again, we found the impact to be really low. So in summary, really, in terms of what we see from what the regulations provide and what we see from the actual impact we expect, this really is the minor source, which will comply and has to comply with emission limits and will comply with ambient health standards and guidelines. This is not based just on our review, but it's also based on what Georgia EPD conducted independently of what we provided as a double check on what we presented.